Everyone tells you the same thing about Social Security. Wait. Wait as long as you possibly can. 70 is the magic number. The longer you hold out, the bigger the check. The bigger the check, the safer the retirement. It sounds responsible. It sounds like the right thing to do. But here is what nobody mentions when they give you that advice. 64% of Americans file for Social Security before their full retirement age, not because they did not know better, because when they looked honestly at their own lives, their health, their finances, their marriages, their actual circumstances, filing early was simply the smarter choice. Today, I want to show you exactly why. 7 specific reasons that the wait until 70 advice might actually be costing you, not protecting you. I am not a financial advisor, and I am not telling you what to do with your specific situation. Every person's circumstances are different, but I want you to have the full picture, not just the part that gets repeated over and over at every dinner table and in every retirement article, the full picture, because you deserve to make this decision with complete information, not just the half of it that sounds most responsible. Let's get into it. The first reason is one that most people do not even realize exists until it is simply too late to do anything about it. Filing early can unlock your spouse's benefits immediately. Here is something that genuinely surprises a lot of couples when they first hear it. Your spouse cannot collect spousal Social Security benefits until you file first. It does not matter how long they have been waiting or how patient they have been. Until you file, that door is completely closed to them. Let me show you what that means in actual dollars, because the numbers here are significant. Say your benefit at 62 is $1,200 a month. Your spouse's own benefit based on their work history would only come to around $400 a month. The moment you file, your spouse becomes eligible for 50% of your full retirement benefit, which in this case would be $800 a month. Double what they would have received on their own. Your household is now collecting $2,000 a month instead of $1,200. And here's the part that I want you to really sit with. If you wait 5 years to file, you do not just lose your own benefits during those years. You cost your spouse $48,000 in spousal benefits that can never be recovered. That money is simply gone forever. For couples, this is one of the most overlooked and most costly pieces of the entire Social Security puzzle, and it changes the math of waiting considerably. The second reason requires a kind of honesty that most of us are not entirely comfortable with. But I think it is one of the most important things I can say today. Your health and your family history matter more than any calculator. Every conversation about Social Security eventually comes down to something called the break-even age. The concept is straightforward. At some point, the larger monthly checks from waiting will overtake the total you would have collected by filing early. Here's what those numbers actually look like. If you file at 62 instead of 67, you stay ahead financially until age 76. After that, the larger checks from waiting begin to pull ahead. If you file at 62 instead of waiting all the way until 70, you stay ahead until age 81. Now here's the question I want you to answer honestly, not for me, but for yourself. Look at your family history. Did your parents reach their mid-80s in good health, or did things change much earlier than that? Do you have a chronic condition your doctor has already spoken to you about? Does something in your gut tell you something that the average life expectancy tables simply do not account for? Because those break-even calculations assume you will live to an average age and that every year between now and then will look roughly the same. Life does not work that way, and planning as though it does is not caution. It is wishful thinking dressed up as financial responsibility. I watched my own mother wait on her Social Security, do everything the responsible way, and then spend the first 4 years of her retirement managing a health situation that made most of what she had saved and waited for impossible to enjoy. She told me more than once that she wished she had taken the money earlier and used it while she still could. If your health history or your family history gives you any reason to believe that your 80s might look different than you are hoping, filing early is not pessimistic. It is honest. The third reason is something that genuinely surprises people the first time they hear it properly explained. Filing early can actually reduce the total taxes you pay over your retirement. Social Security benefits are not automatically taxed the way your paycheck was. Whether you pay tax on them depends entirely on what Social Security calls your provisional income, which is your regular income combined with half of your Social Security benefits. Here is the number that matters. If that combined total stays under $25,000 for a single person or $32,000 for a married couple, your Social Security benefits are completely tax-free. Every dollar arrives whole. Think about what that means in practice. If you are 62, living primarily on savings with little other income coming in, you might collect $1,200 a month in Social Security and pay zero tax on it. But if you wait until 70, your investments have had 8 additional years to grow. Your required minimum distributions from your retirement accounts may have begun. Your total annual income is higher, and suddenly up to 85% of that larger Social Security benefit could be taxable. You waited 8 years for a bigger check, and after taxes, you might actually keep less money in your pocket than if you had filed early when your income was lower and your tax situation was simpler. The smaller benefit that arrives completely tax-free is sometimes worth considerably more in real terms than the larger benefit that arrives already partially eaten by taxes. It is not just about the size of the check, it is about how much of the check you actually get to keep. The fourth reason applies especially to anyone whose spouse was the primary earner in the household. And I want to explain this carefully because I think it is one of the most powerful arguments for filing early that almost nobody talks about clearly. Filing early can serve as a bridge to a much larger benefit later. Here is how it works. You are entitled to either your own Social Security benefit or 50% of your spouse's full retirement benefit, whichever is higher. Social Security automatically gives you the larger of the two when the time comes. Say your own benefit at 62 would be $800 a month. Your spouse was the primary earner, and their benefit at full retirement age will be $12,400 a month. You file at 62 and begin collecting your $800. 5 years later, when your spouse files at their full retirement age, Social Security automatically switches you over to the spousal benefit, 50% of their $2,400, which comes to $1,200 a month. In the 5 years between 62 and 67, you collected $48,000 in benefits you would have missed entirely if you had waited, and then you step up to the larger benefit anyway. You did not sacrifice the bigger number by filing early. You simply collected real money in the years before the bigger number became available to you. 2 income streams over time. The first funds your early retirement, the second carries you forward. The fifth reason is one that feels uncomfortable to discuss, but that I believe every woman watching this needs to understand clearly and completely. Filing early can protect your long-term financial security as a survivor. When a spouse passes away, the surviving partner can step up to 100% of the higher earner's Social Security benefit, if it is larger than their own. Here is why that matters in the context of when you file. Say your benefit is $800 a month and your spouse's benefit at their full retirement age is $2,400. Your spouse is in good health and plans to wait, letting their benefit grow to its maximum. You file at 62 and begin collecting your $800 immediately. If your spouse passes away, you step up to their full benefit. Your $800 a month becomes $2,400 a month for the rest of your life. You had income arriving during the years you needed it, and you still ended up with the maximum possible survivor benefit. If you had waited and collected nothing in the meantime, those years of payments are simply gone. There is no way to go back and claim them. I am not asking you to plan for the worst. I am asking you to plan so that if the worst arrives, it does not also arrive as a financial crisis. Those two things landing at the same time is something no one should have to face without preparation. The sixth reason is the one that sits closest to my heart, and it is the one I find myself coming back to most often when I think about this decision honestly. The early years of retirement are the years when you can actually use the money fully. There is a way of thinking about retirement that I find genuinely useful: 3 phases: the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. The go-go years are the early years, typically the 60s and into the early 70s. You have your health, you have your energy, you have the capacity to travel, to be active, to pursue the things you spent 40 years telling yourself you would do one day. The slow-go years follow. You are still engaged and present and enjoying your life, but the ambitious trips are fewer, the long days of activity are quieter, and eventually, for most of us, the no-go years arrive in some form. Filing at 62 puts more money in your hands during the years when you can fully and completely enjoy it, during the years when the bucket list is still entirely open, during the years when your body still cooperates with your ambitions. I think about my friend Linda a lot when I think about this. Linda waited on her Social Security, did everything by the book, and at 68 received a health diagnosis that quietly changed the shape of everything she had been waiting to do. She told me over coffee one afternoon, "Carol, I wish I had taken the money earlier and actually used it when I could." That sentence has stayed with me ever since. Would you rather have a larger check arriving during the slow-go years when your list has already gotten shorter? Or a smaller check during the go-go years that funds the life you actually planned for yourself? Only you can answer that honestly. But I think it deserves a genuine answer rather than a reflexive one. The seventh and final reason is the simplest one, and in some ways it is the most important. Sometimes you simply need the money, and that is a completely sufficient reason. Social Security is not a reward for patience. It is not a trophy you earn by holding out the longest. It is an insurance program that you paid into across your entire working life. Decades of contributions, decades of showing up and doing your part. If you need that income at 62 because of bills, because of medical costs, because of a gap between what you have saved and what your life actually costs, because of helping a family member, because your circumstances changed in ways you did not plan for, there is no shame in that. There is no penalty for using what is yours. The most sophisticated financial decision is not always the one that looks most impressive on a calculator. It is the one that meets your actual life, where it genuinely is, not the theoretical life you projected at 45 when everything still looked a certain way. So here are the 7 reasons, one more time, simply and clearly. 1. Filing early unlocks your spouse's spousal benefits immediately. 2. Your health and family history may make waiting the riskier choice. 3. A smaller benefit collected when your income is low may cost you less in taxes than a larger benefit collected later. 4. Filing early can bridge you to a larger spousal benefit without sacrificing it. 5. Collecting early can protect your financial security as a survivor. 6. The go-go years are the years to have the money and actually use it. 7. If you need the income, that is reason enough. This is not about being reckless with one of the most important financial decisions of your retirement. It is about being clear-eyed, about looking at your actual life, your health, your marriage, your tax situation, your needs, your dreams, and making the choice that genuinely serves you best. The goal was never to collect the biggest possible check. The goal was always to build the best possible life. Those are not always the same thing, and knowing the difference is everything.